let's jump to receiving yards. And Brandon, I'll start with you. Who are you looking at in this market? Well, first of all, what's the kind of target, and then who are you looking at?
Yeah, so we know we need at least 90 yards a game. That's 1,500 yards over the season. We've had at least 3 guys do that in the last 5 years, and probably going to need 100 yards a game. So that's easy math, 1,700 yards. We've had that in 4 of 5 seasons. For me, this is a spot where I do bet a favorite because my receiving yards projection leader is Justin Jefferson. That's my pick, 10-1. And I have Jefferson not just as my projected leader, he is way out ahead of the field on this one. And that's why I like him as a favorite. I have Jefferson at 190 targets, 130 catches, 1,850 yards projected as a high-end outcome. Now, it's never great to just project someone to put up nearly 2,000 yards. I get, but I love what Jefferson could be for Kevin O'Connell in this offense. Basically, look, we know what Cooper Kupp did a year ago, and Jefferson is going to be in that Cooper Kupp sort of role, I think, now, where they're moving him around the field. They're going to have him play in the slot sometimes, where he played at LSU and was awesome. The other thing, too, Cooper Kupp had a 76% catch rate last year. Jefferson was only 65. So if the targets go up and he gets more efficient, now you get some more catches, and his yardage per attempt or yards per catch has always been really good. So I have Jefferson at 1,850 yards. That is my next closest receiver is 1,500. So that is a sizable margin. And that's why here is why I'm willing to bet on a favorite. So Jefferson 10-1. And spoiler here, this will not be my last Justin Jefferson play on the board either.
Yeah, this is one of those markets where it's hard to kind of get away from the favorites, just kind of looking around the league. Joe, anyone you like in this one?
The only counter with that, and again, I love Jefferson. I think it's still a solid play. I just worry about in that offense how much Cousins just favors Thielen, especially like in short gain situations. I just find a lot of the time, like if you look at the last 4 years since Thielen and Cousins have been together, 12 touchdowns in 16 games in the week 1 to week 4 stretch. Like he clearly has been favoring him in that spot. But from a yardage standpoint, I'm going to be looking at another LSU Tiger, but more for the touchdown side of things.
All right. Yeah. For this market, like I love Ja'Marr Chase in terms of receiving yards. Like if I'm going off Jefferson, I think Ja'Marr Chase, right there at 10-1 as well. I really like him. And I think, for a longer shot, Michael Pittman is a guy that I keep coming back to. He's 50-1. And, the thing with Michael Pittman is they're already talking about like throwing the ball more this year. And Michael Pittman, pretty much of all receivers, runs like the most routes per dropback. He was on the field like 96% of their routes last year. He has zero competition for targets. And Matt Ryan, year in, year out, before he got saddled with that atrociousness of a squad last year, every year he had a guy in the top 6 in receiving yards. And you like remember Calvin Ridley going into year 3, didn't quite know what to expect with him. And then, he's right there at the end of the year. I think he finished with 1374. But it kind of reminds me of Pittman here. It's like, we just think of the Colts as this run heavy team. But a couple of injuries, maybe Shaq Leonard doesn't quite heal right or something like that. Now you have Matt Ryan. You're not going to be shy about throwing the ball a lot. And I think Pittman is a guy that I kind of look out for as a long shot, especially because, looking at his just reception perception data and things like that, he just gets open. And I think what's been holding him back more than anything, at least last year, was Carson Wentz. So Pittman for me. Any long shots that you like sprinkling in this market, Brandon?
Yeah, there will be no Carson Wentz slander on this podcast here today, but I like the Pittman play. He's clearly the guy there for Indianapolis. The only reason I wouldn't bet on him is just I worry about the run heavy thing. So I'm looking for guys here, my 2 long shots where I'm hoping for more pass heavy. So I'll take a Steeler. I'll take Deontay Johnson at 40-1. Kind of the same case I made where, Matt Canada airing it out. They're going to get a lot of passing attempts. Even if it drops a little bit, Deontay Johnson's been around 10 targets a game each of the last 2 years. One thing I like with him and what you'd be betting on, so his yards per catch the last 2 years was only 10.5 and 10.9. So that's terrible. You're not going to win yards leader with that. However, maybe that was just Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe that noodle arm could only get the ball out 5 yards down the field. So what if you get a quarterback that actually get it down the field? Trubisky and Pickett have been doing that in preseason. And if you jump, give him 100 receptions, 110 receptions like he's been getting, but jump the yards per catch to 12. We're at 1,300 yards. Jump it to 12 and a half. We're getting close to 1,400. So I think that's the angle with him. The other one I like, and I'm surprised how little this guy's been talked about, is Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions. So he's 80-1 here. He had a monster closing stretch. So last 6 games of the year, he had 51 catches, 51 catches and 5 touchdowns, over 600 yards. He had 8 catches in all of them. He projected over the season to 145 catches, almost 1,600 yards from that pace. Again, pacing only works so well when you're at 6 games, but they added DJ Chark. They'll get Jameson Williams eventually, but that wasn't just a random stretch. That was Ben Johnson taking over at offensive coordinator, and they opened up a lot more passing down the stretch. Hawkinson was out, so he's going to have to share the ball a little bit more now, but I think St. Brown has really been slept on. To me, he is a monster sleeper in some of these categories, but I don't know. I'm surprised the number is not higher here. And even like in fantasy football, he's not higher. So am I missing something with him?
I mean, I love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was one of my favorite sleepers last year. And it looked dead in the water halfway through too. But I think the reason he's so high here is average depth of target's like 7. So he's probably just not going to be that guy going down the field. Whereas, some of these other guys, like even like you mentioned with Deontay, his average depth of target's been low too, but he's kind of that guy. He's kind of still their number one guy. He can get open down the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I just think he's going to be used as more of like a slot guy where they have DJ Chark and then Jameson Williams are going to run those deeper routes. So that's probably why he's there. Like I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is actually probably a better play in the receptions market, which we'll close up with at the end.